My name is Ruth Foster, and I'm a junior here at the W. I'm a speech pathology major, but I'm minoring in business. I hope to graduate in 2016 and then attend graduate school so that I may legally practice as a speech pathologist. I would love to work in a private clinic or other small clinic, but I'm certainly open to working in schools, hospitals, or nursing homes. I enjoy reading and cooking, and I love sports of all kinds. I played sports in high school, and I've played a few intramurals since I've been here at the W. I'm also involved in the BSU, the Lantern Honor Society, the National Society of Leadership and Success, and the MUW chapter of the National Student Speech, Language, and Hearing Association. These obviously don't have to do with jobs in management, but they have exposed me to some ideas and topics that we have discussed in this class, such as motivating and working in teams and groups. One of the topics that I enjoyed most in this class has been the chapter about motivation. I think that not only will people in management positions need to know how to motivate others, but that everyone will need to motivate someone at some point. I have one brother, so I know as a sibling I sometimes need to motivate him to help me do the dishes or to pay half of my parents' Christmas present and other things like that. I usually have to give a little effort and a little thought in order to get him to agree to do something, especially if I want him to do it well. A lot of times it's necessary for me to use extrinsic rewards to get him to do what I want or what I need him to do. Sometimes I buy his lunch in order to get him to go shopping with me. Almost anyone can be motivated with extrinsic motivators, and it's important that we pay attention to what types of things motivate different people. As I said before, I want to be a speech-language pathologist, and that will require me to motivate others to correct their speech disorders. Sometimes it will be easy, like with little children. Children are not usually hard to motivate, especially if you can find out what they want or what they need. I could use Maslow's hierarchy of needs or McClellan's learning needs to help me identify what I need to use to motivate the child. Sometimes they may be upset because they're different from other kids. Maybe they're being made fun of or not being accepted. Other times, they may not even understand their need for speech therapy. Other times, it's going to be hard to motivate a patient, like when I have to make an elderly man eat in a room with me instead of a room with other residents or his friends, so that I can monitor his swallowing so that he won't choke. Oftentimes, elderly people are set in their ways. They don't want to accept that something is wrong with them. They might refuse to do as you ask because they don't understand why they're having to do it. I'll have to come up with ways to make them feel important, and like it really does matter whether they do as I ask or not. I feel like motivation was a great chapter, and it can be applied to any job, but also to everyday life. As I said, I'm involved in several sports and clubs as well. This requires me to use teams and groups regularly. Just as the book says, there are both advantages and disadvantages to teams. One reason that teams are beneficial to businesses is that they allow employees to learn the skills that other team members have. This is called cross-training. The same is true in clubs and organizations. Being in the group environment helps me to improve myself by learning from others. I also feel that as I move into my career as a speech pathologist, I'll need to continue to learn from other speech pathologists who may have a different expertise than I do. A disadvantage to teams is what the book called social loafing. Some members do not pull their weight. I know this definitely happens in many of the activities that I'm a part of. It's quite frustrating to me. I do not think I will have to deal with this as much once I become a speech pathologist. One aspect of groups that is a problem is groupthink. This prevents progress, often because people will not speak up for fear of others. This is an important reminder to me as I think about how I will conduct my therapy sessions. Group sessions can be beneficial because it allows speech pathologists to observe patients and how they operate around other individuals. They also could be harmful because they might cause a patient to cower or to feel uncomfortable because others in the group may speak out more. Just as groupthink affects businesses and employees, it can also affect some of my patients. For less outspoken patients, group sessions would be uncomfortable and likely unprofitable, just as they are when groupthink occurs in large businesses. Diversity is another thing that everyone needs to be aware of. In today's world, you may come in contact with people from a different country than you, someone that's a different race or religion than you, or just someone who has different ideas than you do. There are going to be different ages and different genders than you. It's inevitable that we will have to deal with a variety of people in our lives. It is important to know how diversity affects people and businesses. When working with others, it is sometimes hard to be sensitive to the needs of others, but it is necessary. One thing that I'm glad we learned about are the different types of discrimination that exist today. I feel like we think that those things do not exist, but they do, and they occur frequently. I think that everyone deserves a chance, and that judging others or treating people differently based on race or disability is not allowing them to show others what they may be able to do. As a future speech pathologist, I know that I will deal with people who may be discriminated against regularly. People don't like different, and they often label others based on what they see, and especially on what they can hear. Speech pathologists work to make sure that everyone has a fair chance to communicate. Oftentimes, kids are made fun of because of speech disorders. They may not even be allowed to be themselves. Adults may experience speech disorders due to a childhood habit or maybe a health issue, such as a stroke. Sometimes these things prevent them from getting a job. The boss may just think that they're not capable. If others would understand that it's just a difference, not a disease, there would be a lot less sad children and adults. As a speech pathologist, I will try to help people with speech disorders so they won't be wrongfully judged. I cannot make people stop judging others by how they sound, so I'll help those who have trouble speaking to sound more like those other people. Diversity is a part of life, and no one is going to be able to change that. Diversity can impact companies positively if we do so in the appropriate ways. I want to make sure that people are not discriminated against based upon a communication handicap, so they can go out and help others understand that differences are okay. They're just different. Another section that I really enjoyed studying is about the planning and decision making. A plan, everything, and I like to stick to a plan. Setting goals is important to me. When I set a goal, I feel great when I accomplish it. Just as a company sets goals, and then they are rewarded when they accomplish them. I really enjoyed the idea of the SMART goals that the book presented. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. These help to make sure that goals aren't just dreams, that they are being acted upon. An action plan that the book has is very applicable to everyday life goals, but especially to the goals that I will set with my patients. It is important that speech pathologists and their patients set goals so that they can see their progress and know what they can improve on. The action plan has a how, a what, a who, and a when. These are some very similar steps to steps that speech pathologists make when making their goals. The topics about the selection process for employees was very informative and gave me some information that I had not yet considered. The list of questions that should not be asked of a job applicant had many things that I did not realize could cause problems. One thing that stuck out to me was the physical characteristics. I would typically assume that the employer could make a guess about height or weight and wouldn't have thought that it would be an inappropriate question to ask. Also, the inability to ask for a woman's maiden name was also an interesting topic to avoid. I was interested in the different types of selection tests. These interested me because they got so specific. I didn't realize there were so many options for employers to view how you work. The cognitive ability test that was mentioned reminded me of a test that a speech pathologist might use. As I said earlier, I would like to work in a private practice, but my dream is to open my own practice someday. That is one reason that I decided to minor in business. I feel like the information that I receive in these classes will help me tremendously if I'm ever able to do so.